She's written the book From Veils to Thongs, an Arab chick's survival guide to balancing one's ethnic identity in America. Her name is Dalel Khalil. Dalel, welcome to the Young Turks.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, guys, for having me. But I just want to say that Sarah Palin's my girl. Hello.
Okay.
Well, I know. I totally had to throw that in there because it was like, I don't respect you or you're dumb or whatever, and I'm like, I'm going to tell him I am. So, just kidding about that. But
okay,
thank
you're
you so
kidding,
much.
right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I should remember you don't know me. Yes, I'm really kidding.
Okay.
I'm really kidding.
All right, so let's talk about your book and your background. First, which country is your family from, and how long have you guys been here? And I also, I'm curious about your religion as well. Let's start with all that first.
Okay, well, those are really good questions. My religion is Christian, but what I talk about in the book is that it doesn't matter if you are Christian, if you're a Muslim, if you're an atheist, whatever you are, an Arab chick is an Arab chick is an Arab chick. And, you know, we're bound by the same cultural rules. There are differences, like Muslim girls, you know, don't drink, Christian girls do, or there are differences, but the general idea, and I think a lot of Americans just assume that the entire Arab world is only Muslim, but there are Christians. But we are bound by those same rules, and so we're connected by that. So yes, that is my religion. And I joke when I do talks around the country, and when I joke and tell people, I'm like, the first word that an Arab girl learns is mama, the first word, mama. The second word that she learns is baba. And the third word that she learns is aib. And aib is an Arabic word for, and I don't speak it that well, but I do know this word. Aib is the Arabic word for like shame or dishonor. So she learns mama, she learns baba, and she learns aib. She knows what aib is. She knows what's respectable and what's not, whether she's Arab, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, whatever she is. She's an Arab girl.
And let me just pause there for a second.
Sure.
And I'm Turkish, and we know that as well, okay? And that's the first thing we get taught. And
right.
It always used to drive me crazy, because if you go to somebody's house, you have to be on your best behavior, because if you mess up their house, that's totally ayib, okay? But if they come to your house, you have to be on your best behavior, because not treating guests in the best possible way is ayib. So I always used to think, when do I get to be the bad guy? Okay.
You know what?
Why is everything ayib? Everything's ayib. When do I get to have fun?
Well, here's the thing, exactly. But you bring up a good point, because you just got done saying something that, you know, you're a guy and you're subject to these rules in terms of, you know, it's ayib to not treat them with the utmost hospitality. And you're a guy. This is an Arab chick book, and I talk about other stuff. So you're kind of subject to those same cultural rules. But, and I'm not going to get in too deep with this, but guys have it so much easier than the Arab chick. It's completely so much easier than we have it. And, I mean, you guys can do anything. And I'm not a feminist, believe me. I'm very traditional. I'll kiss my husband's feet when they come home. You know, I have no problem with him making more money if he kills the spider. I'm not like a pro-feminist, you know, hardliner or thing like that, person like that. But the guys can get away with murder, essentially. And women are subject to these cultural rules. I mean,
well, that's definitely true. Again, you know, I wound up growing up here in the United States, but I'd go back to Turkey all the time, hang out with my friends from when I was young.
Right.
And if the guys got laid, everybody was thrilled. And, you know, hey, good boy, wait a minute, right? And
right.
If the girls did, it was a disaster and a tremendous dishonor. And even the guys who wanted to get laid by the girls, if they found out the girls were having sex, they'd be like, oh, what kind of a terrible slut is she? I'm like, the kind of terrible slut we want.
Exactly. So, I mean, I know I wouldn't think otherwise. I mean, I know you get it. You've gotten it for a very long time. You understand it. But it's these double standards that we have to be on our best behavior 24/7. Everybody's judging us. Everybody's looking at us. You know, but the guy can do 10 times worse. I joke about that in the book. I talk about, you know, he can get it doesn't matter if he's an Arab, Turk, it doesn't matter. He's Spanish, he's African, doesn't matter across the board. You know, it's a double standard, and it's more prevalent in the Arab world, unfortunately. I mean, it still exists in America very strongly, but in the Arab world, it's like, you know, I can't say the word on the show, but, you know, you're branded with that word. You know what I mean? So
I hear you. So Dalel, you're originally or your family's from Syria, right?
Yeah.
Where did you grow up here in the U.S.?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay, all right, I like that.
So home for the Steelers.
All right, now you're talking my language. Okay, so growing up though, how much of your parents' influence do you wind up? How much does that affect you, or do you think, yeah, they're old school, but we're in America now, I'm just going to go ahead and ignore that?
Well, here's the thing, and this is what makes my perspective so unique in that I'm literally from Veils to Thong. I'm literally in the middle of Veil and Thong. My mother was like me. She was born and raised in this country, okay, but she had Arab parents. So she was born and raised here. So her side is very open and liberal, still retaining their roots, but open and liberal. And my father's side is extremely conservative and strict. So it wasn't the case that I was blessed, thank God. I was blessed with really cool parents, liberal parents, open parents, but my dad was still an Arab man. Let's get it in perspective. But, very open with things. So it was not, it wasn't them. It was the cultural rules. It was, the overall community. It was my world being an Arab girl. And I thought of how I could explain this. And if you're familiar with Marjane Satrapi, Persepolis, she had liberal parents in her story in Persepolis, but she was bound by these cultural rules. And her parents were cool, but she was in a world that was so, that enforced these cultural rules. So the same with me. Like, I was joking with my sister. I'm like, I didn't have to sneak out, but I kind of, felt left out. And because everybody was sneaking out, you couldn't have a boyfriend, so everybody was sneaking out. I'm like, okay, well, it's more fun that way to sneak out because you could, I'll meet you at the corner at 8 o'clock, and it's real mysterious, and it's just exciting, rather than, my dad would pick me up at the bar or whatever, it's not a big deal. But those, I would be afraid if my uncle saw me. That's kind of the thing. Do you know what I mean?
So how did your uncles or your dad or your family feel when you wrote a chapter called The Sperm in the Air Theory?
Well, my dad was very proud of me that I wrote the book. He doesn't quite get it, you know what I mean? He didn't really read the book. I'm like, because he's still old country. He's a farmer that came to America and did well for himself, thank God. But, Baba, I'm so proud of you. That's how, he's proud of me that I wrote a book. I don't think he quite understands it. And my uncles haven't really approached me. And they're still, they're very old school. They're very, they don't really read these kinds of books. So I don't even think that they know that it's in there. You know what I mean?
I think they read it. That's my guess. But they don't want to say.
But I don't know. I'd love to know.
Well, sperm in the air is definitely ayib. There's no question about that. But what is your sperm in the air theory? Now I'm curious.
Repeat the question. I'm sorry. What?
What is your sperm in the air theory?
The sperm in the air theory is, you have to read the book, but it's an entire chapter that really talks about, it kind of sums the whole thing up. Back in the day with my mom, being raised in America with immigrant parents, she was raised in the 30s and the 40s, so they were very liberal. It's only when JFK assassination, Woodstock, civil rights movement, Vietnam, all these crazy things, the sexual revolution started to happen, all these in the 60s and the 70s, and that's when my father's family all came over here. So back in the day, things were less conservative, less choking for the Arab girl. She could mingle much more easily. There were still the cultural rules, but now, our immigrant people came over at a time where things were crazy in America. Drive-by shootings, it's just crazy stuff. So that was actually born out of an incident when I was 15 years old. And I had like 20 cousins. We're all walking up the street. Long story short, it only happened one time in my life, but we were being followed by a member of the community, a male. And I'm like, we were livid. We were screaming, like, what is wrong with these people? We're in America, you stupid people. Like, what are you following us? You're going to protect us? Protect them, from what? What is this craziness? It was insane. We are 15 years old walking up to the Rite Aid to get some juju fruits or something, potato chips, and we're being followed? What is this? Insanity. So we all went back to my mom's house. We sat on the porch and 20 girls, and we're screaming our heads off for 5 hours and stressed out, and then it hit me. Oh, well, what are we making a big fuss about? Because there's sperm in the air. and they could hit one of us and get us one of us pregnant if we're not protected by the men to walk us up the street.
Okay, I got you.
You know what I mean? So
right. There wasn't literally sperm in the air, though. I hope.
No, that was just a 15-year-old's way to deal with how insane this logic was. What are you following me for, buddy? What is this about? We're in America, honey.
All right, I want to ask you another quick question from another chapter. We're talking to Dalel Khalil. Her book is From Veils to Thongs. Why do you think hip-hop is originally from Damascus?
That's another thing. That whole chapter is essentially about how African Americans and Arabs are very similar in so many ways. And then I go through this whole thing about, how I went to Damascus and I'm looking at these beautiful, mosques and ancient churches, and it's just an old world. There's nothing touched by the West. And all of a sudden I hear this, it's getting hot in here, this whatever, what's his name sings it? Come on.
I'm freezing too. It's getting hot in here.
Okay, that's okay. Anyway, so I hear this rap song and I'm like, oh my God, this is they're listening to this stuff over here, which I knew, but it was just a holy moment. And then the West has just such infiltrated in the East in so many ways. But the whole chapter really does revolve around how blacks and Arabs are the same, especially now with profiling.
Well,
profiling so many things.
A lot of conservative Christians in the country would agree. Blacks, Arabs, whatever, they're all the same. So that's my final question to you, Dalel. You're a Christian, but did you still get a lot of misplaced anger? I mean, first of all, it wouldn't be placed right if you were Muslim, but for having an Arabic name, etc.
I didn't understand the question. I'm sorry.
Was there a lot of people who were angry at you for these right-wing clowns? Oh, you're an Arab. Why don't you go back to your own country? Stuff like that when you were growing up, or later?
You know what? That's a very funny thing because it was unique to me that I didn't have discrimination. My father has a restaurant in Pittsburgh, and it's an Arabic restaurant, and every customer who walked in was embracing our culture. My mother and my father, thank God I was blessed with these great people. They instilled in us that we are all the same. Whatever nationality you are, whatever religion you are, whatever, you were a beautiful person. And they really embraced each culture. And it wasn't until I got to my age now that I'm starting to open my eyes to see that not everybody was raised like me, that there is a lot of hostility. There's a lot of anger, especially from the right. I mean, don't get me started on the right about what I hear on certain talk shows. It's like, oh, my God, you're practically racist, what you're saying. And the thing about my book is that it really uses humor to kind of, everybody thinks we're terrorists. Everybody thinks, if you took your microphone outside and you asked 5 people, what would they think about, what an Arab is? They will give you words like terrorism or bomb. Everything will be negative, war. But you'll never hear graciousness. You'll never hear hospitality. You'll never hear, these great, wonderful things and beautiful things about our Arab culture. And it's like, oh, my God, I'm just now opening my eyes to see how much people don't know. I'm going to tell you this story, if I can, real quick. I spent 3 months in Damascus in 2008, and I came back, and I was talking to this customer, and I was like, oh, my God, it's so beautiful over there. It's untouched. It's beautiful. It's mysterious. And she said, I'd love to go. She said, and she looked at me and she said, Dalel, is it safe over there? Would I be kidnapped? And I looked at this woman, and right in her face, and I said, yes, you will be kidnapped. You will be kidnapped and dragged into somebody's home, and they'll cook this culinary feast for you, and they won't let you go, and then they pile more food on your plate, and they'll make you drink coffee and smoke hookah. It'll be 2 a.m. You're trying to leave. You'll be kidnapped because they don't understand the good parts about the Arab world and the Arab culture, because what they see and fed are on TV are negative images. And I'm like, whoa, we're so fun. We're such fun people. Our wedding lasts a freaking week. Well,
Dalel, I think you're going to be a good ambassador for all Arab Americans. If people think, this is what an Arab woman looks like, well, I think a lot of Americans are going to be interested in that. The book is called From Veils to Thongs, an Arab Chick's Survival Guide to Balancing One's Ethnic Identity in America. And Dalel Khalil is the author. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, James, so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.